Blessings, dear ones. This is Amara Amethyst, and I'm here with some lunar guidance and channeled messages for all of us for the time period between the new moon in Pisces and solar eclipse on February 26th and the full moon in Virgo on March 12th, 2017. So this eclipse new moon Pisces energy that we're starting off in has been for so many of us a time of deep shadow work or inner work. We've been moving through a fold in time is how I view it. So we've been moving through a fold in time, a darker, deeper corner, an area which we have not fully had access to for a long time. And we have had the opportunity to clear a lot of karma, especially during this past 2 weeks. And things will continue to come to the surface from these depths in response to all of the work that we've been doing so far in this yearly cycle, and particularly within the last 2 weeks. And so the process continues. I'd like to also say I apologize to those of you who watch these videos regularly that this video is a little bit late. I have been deep in my process, and I hope all of you have as well. And so I've got the reading for you now. So as I said before, the process continues, and this karmic clearing that so many of us have been doing lately, it really creates a lot of new space within our light bodies, space within our energy fields, and even in our physical bodies at times too, which is awesome, because this means that more creative energy, more chi, more life force energy, more awareness potentially. I do feel like there is a large shift in consciousness that's happening specifically right now. So many people have been waking up lately, and it's really exciting. But as we're continuing to do this healing work and clearing out a lot of our karma, which some of this is like we've had opportunities to clear out our karma from the Kali Yuga, from the last 26,000 years. And so that's a lot. That's a long time. And it's a really cool opportunity that we have to do this work. And this is why we're all here now, because we have these amazing windows of opportunity, which we are choosing to take advantage of on a soul level. And that's great. So it's, as always, a blessing to be here with all of you. And so I'm just excited to be here with all of you, and I hope that y'all are too. Some of the other channeled messages that I've been receiving are about this time period. I just hear this masculine and feminine balance, with the masculine creative force just really having a very strong I am presence, which of course is feminine too, but I'm not interpreting the statement I am as masculine so much as when I'm tapping into that divine masculine energy, I can hold the space really strongly with an I am. And then also from the divine feminine energies, from the goddess, I've been hearing patience. Patience, beloved ones, patience. This is also a time where commitment is really important, and remembering our inspiration, like why are we committed to doing the things that we're committed to doing? There are reasons why we didn't just all of a sudden decide, I'm going to commit my life to doing these things, simply because there's some sort of deep inspiration there. So being in touch with our inspiration, and also renewing our commitments to ourselves, renewing our commitments to our soul family, renewing our commitments to the world, or whatever else is appropriate, relationships, jobs, healing, whatever is in your path right now. And so we are moving through the yearly cycle as well, and as we move through these Piscean waters, this depth, these mystical, dreamy depths, as we're sort of swimming in this primordial soup which is really funny. I just noticed I'm wearing this shirt, which is like swimming in primordial soup. Anyways, as we're swimming through these deep mystic waters, I get the sense of gathering, and you can gather chi out of our surroundings and just redirect it into yourself. You can also gather cosmic and interstellar information, messages. As we're swimming through these depths, we can really take advantage of that consciously by gathering to us that which is for our benefit. And then with all of this new energy and information which we've gathered, we can continue to move forward to and beyond the frontier. So we're really, I get a huge sense of approaching a frontier, or potentially already having passed a frontier. And so what does that mean? Moving beyond, passing beyond what came before and was previously known, passing beyond self-imposed limits, directing our life force energy towards that which we will, that which we choose to create. And then I also have a strong sense of balancing this moving and directing of our energy with the allowance of the unfoldment of divine timing. Taking that balance within and taking a deep breath. Inspire. That's what it means. Inspire. Breathe in. Take in. Be inspired. Filled with passion. So again, passion brings us back to passion. What are you here to do? What are you passionate about? What is so important to you? And how are you taking responsibility for creating the reality of your dreams, or creating the reality that you wish to live in? Many of us, sometimes we feel like we're living in a reality that we don't want to be in. And we need to take ownership, responsibility for our role of creating this reality and our experience of it. And clearing karma is a really powerful way to take responsibility for, or when we take responsibility, that clears karma. So it's really a powerful time which we are in. Okay, so I'm going to get to the cards now. I'll be using the Fifth Tarot, which is a deck by Martine and Teresina Balkans. It's really amazing. And I will also be pulling a card from the Goddess Guidance Oracle deck, which is by Doreen Virtue. I love that divine feminine energy. And then I'll be pulling a card as well from the Water Crystal Oracle, excuse me. And these are images from Dr. Masaru Emoto of crystals of water, which are in different shapes based on what has been said to them, the vibration of, so they are a physical representation of the vibration of different expressions and words and energies. Because this is a really important time for us to be taking responsibility for the waters. I mean, we're in Pisces as well, which is a water sign. The sun is in Pisces, rather, and the new moon was in Pisces as well. But we really are made up of so much water ourselves physically in our bodies, and we need clean, fresh water to drink, to survive, and to grow our food. And the plants and animals need fresh water, the earth needs fresh water, and so that means that we who are aware of this need and the sacredness of life and the fact that water is life, it's our responsibility to take actions that support this. And how can we do this? We can support social movements. We can support movements like Standing Rock and No Dapple, and stopping the Sable Trail pipeline, and stopping the Diamond pipeline, stopping the Plains pipeline, their Spectra pipeline. There's so many pipelines all across our country right now. And we can take responsibility for standing up and saying, no, we don't need more pipelines. We need more renewable energy, more sustainable energy. And then as we divest from fossil fuel industries and extraction industries, we can invest in companies and organizations that support sustainable energy. We can also reduce our consumption of water. Take a shorter shower. Be more mindful when you're washing the dishes. Don't leave the water running while you're brushing your teeth. Simple things like that. It's really easy to make a palpable difference. You don't have to necessarily go out into the streets and, chain yourself to something and get arrested. You can if you want to. Great, good for you. But you don't have to do that. You can just talk about it with people, talk about how you feel about it, talk about how important it is, and share some of these really simple things which we can all do to conserve water or to conserve energy. We can carpool, we can make sure we're turning off the lights when we're not in the room, we can get reusable shopping bags so that we're not continuing to use more and more plastic bags. There's so many things we can do: recycling, composting. That's one of the things that I'm really passionate about, and I love to share information about it and about our planet and about our connection with our planet, because it's really sacred and powerful, and she nourishes and supports us, and it's part of our responsibility to nourish and support her as well. So I'm calling on my team and anybody else's team who I have permission to, who's going to be watching this video, who would like to receive a message from their guides, angels, ancestors, ascended masters, star beings, elementals, inner earth beings, any and all beings who are aligned with our highest good and the highest good of all that is. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your presence here, ancestors. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I feel there will be some people who don't necessarily always watch my videos who will be watching this one, because there's a really strong intention out there for messages from our spirit teams. And there's a really strong intention for aligning with our highest path right now, and for aligning with our highest path as it supports the highest good of all that is. And there are many of us who are here to make a global change, and we are coming together more and more. So if that's you, hello, blessings, it's so good to be here with you again. Please contact me, let's be in touch, because we are coming together, and it's a beautiful thing, it's a powerful thing. And the more connected we are, the stronger we are. The more connected we are, the stronger we are. The more tolerant we are. Tolerance is such a big, beautiful energy. It's such a big deal right now. Tolerance comes from understanding. So even if somebody is different from me, maybe I might be afraid of them because I don't understand them, and all I can sense are our differences. Maybe that's why I would be scared, or maybe that's why I would feel on edge or judgmental or anything like that. But I sense a lot of fear. A lot of people are feeling fear about others, the other people. Maybe it's another religious group, maybe it's another skin color, maybe it's another gender or sexual identity, or maybe it's something else entirely. Maybe it's star beings, and you're like, oh my gosh, aliens are real, but I'm really scared of them. Any other being, but especially with people, interspecies acceptance is also a very important thing. But a lot of what I'm talking about right now is tolerance of other people, and tolerance of people who trigger us, tolerance of people whose ideas we don't agree with. It's just as important to be tolerant. It's more important to, I mean, it's all important, but it's really important to be tolerant of people who have different beliefs than we have, and people who have different ideas than we have. And even if people are taking actions which we don't agree with, it's still important for us to see them as human beings and to bring a level of tolerance to interactions with people. Peace and tolerance can be found within our hearts. Peace and tolerance can be found within your own heart. Peace and tolerance can be found within the heart of every human being. There are lots of little caveats coming up right now. Like, I understand that some people have certain chemical imbalances or other ways in which they express as beings which cut them off from being in touch with their heart and feeling the same types of things that other people might feel, but they're still human too, and we all long for acceptance and love. And the more that we can give that to ourselves and to everybody around us, regardless of whether or not they agree with us, the better off we'll all be, because we'll all feel safer, we'll all feel happier, we'll all feel more fulfilled. So how can we create these types of nurturing relationships and connections? It's really beautiful, profound work going on in the world right now. And I'm not recommending to people that they remain in situations which are abusive or not serving them or anything like that. But I am suggesting, here's a card, what I am suggesting is to stay grounded and be in your own energy as much as possible, and allow yourself a little more time in interacting with people so that you have the chance to get to a place where your heart can soften a little towards them, if that's possible, without it being detrimental to you or to other people around. All right. Okay, there's 4. And here's the Goddess Guidance card. Goddess Guidance card, Coventina, Purification. It is time for a cleansing detoxification of your body and mind. This is a really interesting image for a card for this time period. The imagery is of the goddess standing on water, and there's just waves rippling out from her, and she is bleeding, she's purifying her body, there's also rainbow, the water coming off of her is like a rainbow skirt of water, and then it all flushes outwards from her. So knowing how powerful you are and all of the things that you are here to do, it's really important to purify your vessel, purify your body, purify your energy field, purify your living environment, purify your transportation if that's possible, purify your relationships, your workspace. A lot of us are really sensitive, and a lot of us are really sensitive right now to what's happening, and that's okay. Sometimes it's important to disconnect from all of the things that are being fed into us and to choose. So part of our purification is not just releasing what we already have, it's also choosing what we allow to come into our space, choosing what we allow to come into our bodies, and choosing what we allow to come into our mental space as well. What music, what media, what conversations, what types of people, what types of food, what are you allowing into your space, into your head, into your body? Be very aware of that. And if there's something that doesn't feel like something you want in your space anymore, just let it go. You don't have to say, I'm never doing this again. You can just say, oh, wow, yeah, this doesn't feel good in my body right now, so I'm not going to do that. Like, for example, for me with diet, I was vegetarian for several years and then I was vegan for a while, and now I mostly eat vegan, or I guess I mostly eat vegetarian, but I don't really do dairy. So every once in a while I will eat meat because my body feels like it wants to eat meat, and every once in a while I'll eat dairy because my body feels like it wants dairy, or whatever. Or sometimes I'll be eating vegan for a while, but I do my best to listen to my body and feel into what is my body calling for right now. And for some people they might want to strictly eat vegan, that might feel best for their body, or they might want to eat meat or everything, or whatever it is. But for me, it's really, I'm very aware of what's coming into my body, what's coming into my space, and I have stopped going out as much. I mean, this was a while ago, but I am a lot more specific about where I go and what my intentions are when I go there. And I'm somewhat selective in the people who I spend my time with as well, because my energy is important and my mission is important, and in order to be my best, to do what I'm here to do, it's really important for me to have well, we're all sovereign, but to have my energy field be the way that I would like for it to be. Okay, so gentleness, what is one of the tarot cards which we received? The Four of Shells. This is the water suit, and there's a large ray in this card. It's a 4, which is a foundational number, and it's also divine masculine energy. Gentleness, flowing, going with the flow. And rays are very similar to that energy that I was talking about with directing our energy, but also allowing for the flow to move us as well, divine timing. So this card is really bringing that type of image up for me, because they are a very powerful creature and they navigate the currents. They navigate the currents in the water to move. And they have the ability to propel themselves, but they also glide for a very long way. So being gentle and allowing for both of these things to seamlessly weave in and out of each other, to know when to go and when to propel yourself forward, and when to relax and rest and let the flow take you. There are also some 4 shells on here. They kind of look like little cocoons. I've been seeing a lot of cocoon imagery in my mind's eye lately, and feeling a lot of cocoon energy in different areas of my body, of things sort of being ready to come out of the cocoon. Some people may be heading into the cocoon. Let's see, one of the other cards which we received is Divine Blueprint, the Seven of Lotus. This is the soul suit, ether suit. It's a beautiful image. You can meditate on this image with your superimposing yourself over this humanoid form. And notice the different toroidal fields, both coming out of the heart. One of them comes from the heart and goes down and into the root. The other one comes to the heart and goes up and down and through the crown. There are also other orbits around the heart and around the third eye. Lots of energy streaming in and out through the fingers and the toes, points of light. We always have access to our divine blueprint, our fullest expression. It's like our sacred geometric layout, architecture of our highest expression. And we always have access to this divine blueprint, and we can tap into that, we can download that into ourselves to align ourselves at any moment with our higher selves. We also received the Magician card, which is in the Major Arcana. It's knowing our creative power in this world and the power of our intention to create. The power of our intention aligned with the power of our creative life force energy, aligned with spirit, aligned with the earth. All of these things and balance between the elements, fire, water, air, earth, ether, we really have a lot of manifestation power right now. This is a really beautiful card indicating a time when we have the power, we know we have the power to create, and we are consciously using this power. And then the last tarot card which we received is another shell suit, 8 of Shells, Detachment. And this is interesting that both of these have somewhat similarly shaped shells. And the shells on this one sort of always remind me of little babies wrapped up in cloth after they've been born, like swaddled babies. So that makes them feel comfortable, is to like be held tightly. So maybe if you're feeling afraid or feeling pain or just feeling stressed out, maybe you could swaddle yourself, give yourself a hug, or just really wrap yourself up in a blanket, kind of warm and tight, and snuggle in for a little bit. Or you can just energetically snuggle in. I've been calling on the goddess, asking her for just, goddess, hold me. Please, goddess, hold me. And also affirming to myself, I am safe, I am safe. Sometimes when you're doing deep healing work, or sometimes just in life, we feel scared. And so we can affirm to ourselves that we are safe and detach from that fear. This is also detaching from going down the emotional rabbit trails that come up when we get triggered. So what would it look like if something happened and it triggers me to get really mad because nobody's ever listened to me and I've always had important things to say, but I can never get a word in edgewise, or people don't seem to be able to listen to the full length of what I'm trying to say. And so I'm angrily trying to cut back into a conversation or something, or maybe I'm just mad, but say that's the trigger and somebody and something happens that trigger for me gets pushed. And so instead of going down that whole emotional story of blah 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 whatever, and getting wrapped up in it and allowing my energy to get carried down that way, what would it be like to simply see that experience, like, oh, that's what's happening, and notice it more quickly and detach from that emotion and say, oh, thank you, emotion. There's something here, obviously, for me to heal. What is that? And observe it instead of allowing my attention to go down this rabbit trail that is the same old thing. And then I just sort of shoot out the other side and I'm like, oh yeah, talking about this again. Ugh. Detaching from those emotional rabbit trails. And knowing that we can still feel happy even if we're triggered, or we can still, we have emotional, it's important to allow our emotions to express when we have them, but we don't need to allow it to spiral into a cyclic pattern that's not actually letting it out, but that's just like wrapping it around into a spiral and like not doing anything with it. Hopefully that made sense to you. Okay, the Water Oracle card, one came out earlier as I was preparing for our reading, and this is it's in the healing, it's like one of the healing phrases, and it's the adrenal hado, releasing the adrenals. Thank you all so much for joining me. This has been an interesting reading for me. I've had a lot of different messages come through. I hope it's been helpful for you, and this continues to be a time of deep change for many people. Lots of things coming up with really deeply held karma, some of them from this lifetime, some of them from past lifetimes. This can express in all sorts of different ways, physically in our bodies, emotionally, mentally, as life patterns, as blockages in energy flows in our lives, either in relationships or work, or our physical, like our ability to move through life, our home, our finances. All of this is related. So it's really amazing to be here with all of y'all working through these things which come up for us as part of our human existence. If you ever feel like you would like a personalized reading, this has been a collective reading for all of our highest good to align us with our highest selves for the time period between the new moon in Pisces solar eclipse on February 26th and the full moon in Virgo March 12th, 2017. If you ever would like to have a personal reading or a healing session with me, you can contact me, nectarofthegoddesstemple@gmail.com. I'm also on Facebook as Amara Amethyst. I have Amethyst Alchemy Healing and the Nectar of the Goddess Temple. Such a blessing to be with you. Much love.